Hello, this is Spellbinder, and this is the Unfiltered News headlines from Reality Zone, compiled by G. Edward Griffin. For this week, July 23rd through the 29th, 2011. Here is the comic strip for this week, and it says, "This should solve the debt ceiling problem. Just open up the top of the Capitol building and let it rise, I suppose." Well, this is what's going on right here. Oh, I'm going to have to use the slide bar. There it is. U.S. Legal opposition to the introduction of genetically engineered alfalfa has been bungled time and again. This is assumed to be the mere incompetence, but now we learn that the lawyers opposing GE seeds were receiving funds from those who promote GE seeds. The phrase controlled opposition comes to mind. Morph City, July 29th. Goldman Sachs strikes again. It has acquired a major share of warehouses that store industrial metals such as aluminum. Following rules of London Metals Exchange, no free market here. They are allowed to keep the metal in their warehouses long after the owners ask for delivery. This gives Goldman additional storage fees and creates an artificial shortage, which drives up the price of aluminum, which is already around 50 cents a pound. Because Goldman is a major trader in these metals, it benefits from scarcity, especially if it can manipulate delivery schedules. Reuters, July 29th. In spite of massive bee die-off in rural areas, healthy hives are thriving in cities. This article fails to point out the most likely cause of the difference. Pesticides are used in farming areas, but not in urban areas. Unfortunately, urban bees are too few in number and in the wrong location for pollination of crops. Yahoo, July 29th. Czech president equates environmentalism with communism. The goal, he says, is control over society. Well, what's new? That's true. Herald Sun, July 28th. U.S. Posse Comitatus is a rule of law that used to prohibit the federal government from using military forces for law enforcement inside the United States. That was the job of the states and local government. The purpose was to prevent a federal dictatorship. Here are examples of how Posse Comitatus now is ignored in America. Infowars, July 28th. A video. Greece. Government signs over all of its assets, real estate, cash funds, and tax revenues to the European Commission, IMF. And the European Central Bank is collateral for the bailouts it received. The bailout money went to pay interest on loans from foreign banks. Rebellion is possible, but if so, the present collectivist regime likely will be replaced by a new collectivist regime, and plunder will continue. Raw story, July 28th. South Korea, scientists genetically engineered a cloned dog that glows in the dark. They claim to be looking for cures of human diseases, but this must be viewed as part of the global race for genetically engineered subspecies of humans. That's right, they're trying to make subhumans so they don't have no rights. WA Today, July 28th. Bank of America is bulldozing foreclosure homes it does not want on its books because of their low value. However, part of the reason for their low value is that the banks allowed them to fall and to run. Wells Fargo, Citibank, JP Morgan, and Fannie Mae are considering similar actions. The naked capitalism. July 28th. Nigeria government vows to prosecute parents who reject polio vaccines for their children. These vaccines were suspended in 2003 and 2004 because Muslim leaders said they were causing infertility, and it was a Western depopulation plot. Yes, it's known as Agenda 21 that's enacted worldwide. Yahoo, July 28. New NASA data blows a gaping hole in the global warming myth because much more heat is escaping from the atmosphere than predicted by the UN computer modules, which have been tweaked to do that. Forbes, July 27th. Cinnamon has properties that kill bacteria and could help Alzheimer's patients. However, a therapeutic dose would require so much cinnamon that it would be toxic. To solve that problem, researchers are looking for a way to concentrate only the medically active ingredient. AFTAU, June 27th. Calls and emails flood Congress after Obama's TV appeal to raise the debt ceiling. His message was simple: to have a balanced approach to reducing the debt. Congress must increase the debt. Millions of brain-dead Americans think that makes sense. My Fox, July 26. Yeah, that's madness. Increase the debt. Why don't we just start printing our own money and tell the Fed to go, put their interest money out there, or their usury money, to someone else, and leave us alone and let our government do its own duty of producing the money debt-free. That's why we're in a debt. We wouldn't be in a debt if our money was debt-free and printed by our own government under that pretense. U.S. 3 charts show that Republicans and Democrats alike are responsible for the staggering debt in the U.S. destruction of American economy. Has been a bipartisan act. Business Insider, July 26, and it's true. They've both been working on bringing our country down because the special interest groups that must go. U.S. banks have an ever-growing inventory of mortgage-defaulted homes. If they put them all up for sale, the home market would be depressed even further than it is now. Although banks have been bailed out by taxpayers partly to cover these losses, eventually the homes must be sold or bulldozed. If sold, the home market will drop further. If bulldozed, taxpayers will be on the hook for the reimbursement, the banks for their losses. In either case, the common man will suffer while politicians and bankers will do well. Howe Street, July 26. Video, Libya. NATO military forces destroyed the country's water supply that serves 70% of the population. NATO then destroyed the water pipe factory so that systems cannot be repaired. Who's helping who? I'm now thinking Gaddafi's not that bad because they're out there destroying everyone's livelihood in his world. Many are calling this a war crime against civilians. Yes, it is. We agree. YouTube, July 26. U.S. FDA says walnuts are a drug and must be regulated as such. If sellers tell customers they may reduce the risk of heart disease and cancer. The fact that these claims are backed by research makes no difference. Daily Mail, July 26. Yes, they're not making any money off of it, so they're against it. List of communities around the world that since 1990 have rejected fluoridated water. Fluoride alert, July 26. Fluoride is a deadly poison. UK, scientists have secretly created over 150 human-animal hybrids over the last 3 years, justifying the experiments by claiming they are trying to find cures for disease. We believe that is a cover story for the real goal, which is the creation of a human subspecies, as I said, to serve as docile workers and servants. We also believe this is highly unethical, if not insane. Yes, it's part of m.a.d, Mutual Assured Destruction of Mankind. Daily Mail, July 25th. U.S. 10 mind-blowing facts about the financial condition of American families. For example, the average household carries $75,600 in debt. How are we ever going to pay that? And if we did pay that in one lump sum, will we be owed for any more? Business Insider, July 25th. This camouflage concealed the Lockheed aircraft plant in Burbank, California in World War II. Click to see what was under this. Yes. U.S. Audit of the Federal Reserve shows $16 trillion transferred to American and foreign banks and corporations, much more than previously suspected. This was not authorized by Congress. As long as collectivists are in control, it will continue until the nation is destroyed. That's the ideal. Business Insider, July 25th. That way they can sell off America to foreign entities. Don't you know your property is then someone else's? Obama issues an executive order that allows U.S. Immigration Services to use prosecutorial discretion, which means they can refuse to enforce immigration laws. Immigration amnesty now is possible without approval of Congress. They just bypassed them. Why do we have Congress if they're not doing their job to stop things like this? Tea Party Tribune, July 24th. California Child Protection Agency takes children away from a homeschool anti-vaccine family on the bogus charge. Even though the charge has been dropped, the children are still held in foster care. And who knows if they didn't get their shots after all. Activist Post, July 23rd. Fukushima. Residents confront government officials from Tokyo. Residents are angry because the government has not shown the concern for their exposure to radiation and has done nothing to help them. Officials have no answers and walk out of the meeting. Jeez, what's this? Let them die, I guess, is what their attitude is. YouTube, July 23rd. Libya. NATO military forces destroyed the country's water supply that served 70% of the population. NATO then destroyed the water pipe factory to be repaired. Many are calling for this war crime against civilians. We agree. This is Pravda. In other words, this article, these stories are coming out over and over, so this is a fact. July 23rd. Video. 233 Congress members. 233 Congress members have profited mightily while in office because they have privileged information but are exempt from prosecution for inside trading. They shouldn't even be making any money while they're in there. And that means we might as well just take their paycheck away. They're making more money without their paycheck. They also receive payoffs for political favors. That's right, special interest groups from foreign countries are doing this. YouTube, July 23rd. Click here for a list of these politicians and their wealth. And yes, and it's like 39 Republicans and 41 Democrats. U.S. Last week we reported that Congressman Boswell, a Democrat from Iowa, fought off a robber in his home while his grandson retrieved a shotgun and threatened the intruder with it. We since have learned that Boswell is an ardent gun control advocate and has voted consistently to limit the ability of Americans to defend themselves with firearms. Clearly there is a double standard here, and the word hypocrisy comes to mind. Gun Owners of America, July 23rd. Genetic Armageddon, presented by Alex Jones, reveal grotesque genetic engineering experiments that reduce fertility, increase cancer, blend humans with animals, and are aimed at creating new subhuman species. You must become aware of these facts. The survival of the human race is hanging in the balance, because this is all part of m.a.d. Mutual destruction. Mutual Assured Destruction. YouTube, July 27th. Norway massacre as earmarked of PSYOPs. Event. Andrew Versvik is reported to be a lone gunman but planning to precision and physical maneuvers required for attack are unrealistic for one man. Eyewitnesses say there were multiple shooters. In court, when Brezovic began to speak of his assistance from others, the court immediately silenced him and took him from the courtroom. Note that he is labeled a political extremist, and implications that all deserters probably are just like him and should be locked up before they can do harm. Clever 21st century wire. And I think that's all I have time for. Until next time, be good or be good at it. Good day.